I was just thinking with John Lydon and the Sex Pistols. Do you reckon you could drop in your picture of the old VD picture of you and?
No, we're live.
Okay.
You're really muffling, John. Your speaker, your microphone.
Are we live?
Is that better?
Hang on, I'm just going to check on my phone to see if we are in fact live. This is watch now. Where are we? I'm just going to check on my phone to see if we are in fact live. Oh, there we go.
Watch now. We got no intro.
No, we just gone straight in because we were just too enthralled in the conversation.
Okay, fair enough.
So
I was expecting intros, but Rod, I was expecting you to be like, right, intro, guys, and it goes in.
We're just here.
We're back.
We're getting all rusty.
We've appeared.
Oh yeah. Katie's on. Hello everyone. We're back. We just arrived. Minus Alex, who's in New Zealand, living it up. Oh my goodness, there's lots of people watching. Happy New Year to everyone. How are we all?
What, us or them?
Both.
Well, we haven't. We've been chatting, obviously, but we haven't seen each other's faces. So I miss everyone's faces. It's been amazing. You know, we've had a good Christmas and a good, New Year and stuff. And here we are. We're back.
Yeah. So hello to Katie's in the chat. I love
Katie's in the chat.
Katie.
Okay,
Kelly. Hello, Kelly. How are you doing? All good? Oh, Yvonne. My goodness. My goodness, there's lots and lots of people. It's fabulous. Newcomers, maybe.
So.
It's your first time. Hello. If you're returning, it's good to have you back. We haven't been on for many Tuesdays. Christmas, family, all of that. But I've had enough turkey. I've put on 6 kilos.
Have you?
I have. Can you not see it in my face? It's like
no, it's fine. It's the hair. So you've grown hair. You've got the cool beard. It's like
it's all that hearty Polish food.
Warrior, of course.
Yeah, it was just a very long weekend.
John, you look wise. I think wise is a good word.
Thank you. So it was great New Year. John, how was your Christmas, New Year, mate?
Yeah, it was great. My parents were over in Cyprus, so I just spent it over around my sisters. Had a beef Wellington. Oh, it was lovely.
Beef Wellington, nice.
Yeah,
interesting.
Their champers. It was nice.
That is that's a top level Christmas and New Year.
It is a bit.
Yeah, I think my mum might be pushed off the top tier of the Christmas dinners. I don't think she's happy with it though.
Oh well, she'll have to deal with it. She'll have to deal with it. Lorraine, hello Lorraine, how are you doing? Guys, keep an eye on the hello.
Oh yeah, Lorraine, how you doing? The boys are back in town.
Scotland. Yeah. Drew, how was your Christmas?
It's great. It's in Germany.
Oh yeah. You went in the end.
Yeah. We had to. Oh god, yeah. With all the dramas, with all the flights, but we got it all sorted. We flew to Germany. We ended up going on the Monday. Then we stayed in the same hotel for the week. It was great. Went to Nuremberg, went up the mountains. We just went everywhere. And I drank all the Glühwein and ate all the German food. And it was awesome. And we flew back Christmas Day.
Sounds like a ruddy, bloody great time.
Oh.
It was a ruddy great time.
So, yeah, we're back. We're going to be... We dropped the ball a little bit towards the end of the year. Apologies to anybody, because we didn't actually say... We were just going to stop doing See You Next Tuesday. And a couple of people, Riley was one, I can't remember who the other one was, did actually reach out to me and were like, are you okay? Has something happened? Usually, I should have I've had a nervous breakdown.
Yeah, I almost have a few times. It's fine.
I was a little bit like disappointed because I was looking forward to doing like some Christmas themed Just Arrived stuff, like maybe a Secret Santa. Or
we can do that. We can do that next time we meet. Maybe what we should do, guys, why don't we do this? Why don't we post each other presents, right? And then we can open them on the next See You Next Tuesday.
All right. That's a good idea.
That would be pretty cool. Right. Well, we actually have a special guest who's going to be joining us. If anybody's been following us for a while, I actually covered his band Tyler Reed probably a year ago, I think. When they released a tune that just kind of got on my radar called Entangled, which I thought was unreal. We kind of didn't make any connection with them, and then out of the blue, I think their guitarist Chris got in touch, and they've got a new album out. So let's listen to one of the tunes. This is going to be Kid Id, and then we've got Josh, who's going to join us all the way from Louisiana. It's the middle of the day for him. It's the early evening for us, and we're just going to talk about, being cool in a rock band, being just cool dads, essentially. Well, I'm a cool dad. You guys are just eligible bachelors. Actually, no, you're not, Drew. You're married, aren't you?
Yeah, like wearing my wedding ring.
Yeah. Do you know what?
John is the only bachelor now. We're all married.
One thing I've noticed is the chat. If there are any men out there, can you just say hello in the chat? Because it does feel like we're hosting some sort of ladies' night, which is fine. It's all good. But we're all taken. Except, John, are you taken at the moment?
I'm not, but it's a good film.
Good Lord. Right. So let's just whack a tune on. This is Tyler Reid with Kid Id. Oh, sorry. Here we go. Nice.
Love it.
So welcome, Josh. How's it going?
Hello. Thank you for having me. This is great.
Man, it's thanks for joining us. I hope your afternoon is as rocking as our. I would say dusk, but it's later than that. And it feels like absence has made the heart grow fonder, and the chat's active. There's loads of people on. It's all good. So yeah, man. Go for it, dude.
I was going to be honest. Hearing you guys talk about your Christmas, it made me want to spend Christmas with you all next year. That sounds really nice. It was great. It was a classic Louisiana Christmas where it was warm, and we had the shorts. We usually are wearing shorts for Christmas, but no, Christmas was great, man. It's always good to spend some time with family and take a little breather from work. Yeah, thanks again for having me. This is awesome.
Cool, man. So I wanted to ask you, I really like, obviously I love the tune, but the video is really cool as well. Like, what made you go with animated?
So we wanted to do, thank you, by the way, we wanted to do something visual that captured sort of the essence of the song. And the song really, there's kind of a lot going on to it, but fundamentally, the song is about, as you age, there's certainly things when you're young that you really believe in and you really fight for. And as you get older, you kind of feel time sort of stripping that away, through responsibilities or just different life changes, basically, and things change for you. So we wanted a video that visually sort of represented that metamorphosis and that change that comes through the flowing of time. And I thought the artist did a great job of lining up some visual elements that we had as a band and marrying in that with the music with a nice little narrative. And you can kind of see at the end, the little, id representation of the band finds his way back to us, and we all sail off into the sunset. So, but yeah, that's really what that's all about. And I thought it turned out cool.
Nice, man. So you guys, one of the things that I did when I found you guys was this segment on Instagram called New Week, New Music, and it was a bit of a challenge for me. We kind of talked before we jumped on the call about coming back into music after a bit of a break and finding things being rather different. And one of the things I really wanted to challenge myself on was to discover new bands. It used to be, when I was a teenager, it was the thing that I lived for, to hear new bands, hear new music. And I just kind of realized I was in my own sort of musical echo chamber. So I just started, a lot of people have negative things to say about Spotify, but the one thing I think is really great is if you put the information in it, it does start throwing you bands. And your band was one of the ones that came that way. But unlike a lot of the bands we found, it was like there was a back catalogue that dated back to the mid 2000s. And it was like just this huge gap, and I couldn't work. I did a bit of digging, and it was just very interesting to meet. I guess in some ways almost kindred spirits. With Just a Ride, I'd kind of been out of the industry for sort of like 10, 15 years. So what was it that kind of got you back in to writing music or releasing? Sorry.
Right. Yeah. Well, I guess at the end of the day, I never stopped writing. I love writing music. I mean, that's my favorite thing to do. And as musicians, you guys can all connect to, there's just no feeling like having something in your head and then kind of dreaming or imagining where it could go. And then when you get in a room with, your collaborators, and then you hear how they interpret things and things start to move from the rhythm section to the guitars to the keys, and it becomes this new thing that surprises you. And so for me, I've always loved that feeling of the surprise of, it's like, it's in my head. I know where this could go. Let me kind of cast a vision, and then to see it go there's just nothing like that. So I never really gave up on the writing, and we wanted to spend a little time with each other again and go back into that space and have it that world. And there's nothing better, right? I mean, there's just nothing better than the creation of getting to hear that, what started right here, getting to hear that, on the speakers and the headphones. There's just nothing better. And so we've just been overjoyed. It doesn't matter where it goes, or if no one listens or a million people listen. It's like, it happened. We made it. This thing, we get to bring this thing back out 14 years later, and the reward's ours. The reward is totally ours. So I guess that's a weird way of answering the question, but it's wanting to be a part of that process again, because that's what brings you life, right? If you love doing this, it's just really, really life-giving to us. So yeah.
That's awesome, man. I was gonna say, you kind of started off on this about how with Kidded in particular, your life experience is different now, and I guess the topics that you're writing about, looking at things from a different way. How has that influenced the songs on the new record?
So very much, the lyrical content of the record we just came out with, Cave Paintings, which has Kidded on it, is certainly reflective of my life journey in terms of what I've seen happen with relationships. I've seen certain tragedies in life. I've seen certain things that are just joyous. As you get older, it is, I think it was Eddie Vedder maybe who said that when you're young, you have your fire, and when you're older, you have all the experience, and then you have the technique. And so you kind of miss maybe that perfect intersection. But I do think as a writer, I have a lot more of life to lean on now, and I've seen a lot more. And it brings, I think, to the songs, it brings a real gravity that perhaps earlier I would have been kind of writing in the more classic rock archetype of girls and fun and, all good things, right? AC/DC rules. But for me personally, as I get older, I want to inject a little bit more meaning and sort of a salty flavor into the lyrical content to go along with some of the sweetness. So yeah, absolutely, it's affected.
Are you? Would you say that you're a lyricist who, and this is something that I would kind of identify with in my own process, is you kind of work out some of the feelings, some of the things you're going through in your life, and putting the lyrics down, writing the songs is sometimes like a way of actually exploring how you feel about things.
100%. So typically, if I'm at a piano or at a guitar, I'm trying to be present with what I'm maybe subconsciously feeling, because I'm not even intelligent enough to put my pen on it, but I'm reaching for what are the things that, as I've gone through the day or gone through the year, that have kind of ridden under the radar but are there, and there's a connection and there's something, and I'm feeling it, and maybe I don't even know. But the songwriting is the way that, at least in the way my strange mind works, songwriting is a way to pull that feeling up and then give it something, make it tangible. And then when it's sitting on the table, I can look at it and go, I do feel that way. Like this, yes, this is something I had to, it's like therapy in a weird way, where I didn't even know maybe at some point that this is how deep this went. And to pull it out and to put it into musical form, it codifies it for me.
Cool, man. And in terms of like the process that you went through with kind of recording the album, did you do it all in one bunch, or were you kind of doing some stuff like we record often remotely? How did that process kind of work out for you?
Yeah. So again, for the record that we just released, was actually done in 2 batches. The first batch, I think we did right when COVID was kind of firing up here. So I guess that was 2020. We did 4 songs in 5 days. So the process of recording the way that we've recorded with Elvis Basquette, the producer, that's really intense. And those guys would work from, 11 o'clock in the morning to 3 o'clock in the evening. And we did it 4 or 5 straight days. Just they went crazy just for us, because they knew we had this much time to get it done. And then a year and a half or so, we went back and spent maybe 5 or 6 days with 4 more songs, breakneck pace. But so just as an aside, we're not really a band. We don't really practice. We don't really play. So my brother, from the first recording session to the second, had not picked up a pair of sticks, not even picked them up. and you have to understand the pressure of rolling in that studio with a guy who sold 100 million records. You haven't practiced, you haven't played, and it's like, yeah, I got some songs. He's like, all right, play them. And so we started building right away, just build. And we took those 2 sessions, smashed them together, and that's the record Cave Paintings that's out, that came out January 1st. So crazy process, very short, very little preparation, but we're so proud of how somehow something good came out of it.
Yeah, man, that's wicked. It's like, so if we go back to, you know, I guess when you guys kind of hit the scene, if we go back 20 years, is that fair to say? Is that sort of?
So we would have really kicked off touring in probably 2003, 2004.
Yeah.
So doing the math, I guess you're right in there, right?
It's one of those ones we go, it's not that long. It's like 10. Oh wait, 50. Oh
It
yeah,
is.
20.
It is. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, man. So you guys were kind of like road dogs. You were out really, just non-stop playing. I mean, that's the great thing, you know, in the UK, like we look at America as like this incredible place because it's the size of a continent. And I don't know if you'd agree with me, Drew, like when you meet American bands, they're usually just on another level of musicianship because I guess you can jump in the back of a van and you can just play and play and play. In Britain, you can maybe get 3 tours a year max because there just aren't enough places.
Lucky.
If that, yeah,
you're lucky in a couple of weeks. Yeah, it's Americans just do it better. I don't care what it says. Americans just do it better. Like you could write an amazing album and then the stuff that comes from America. I know. We sit here on our throne of the Beatles and Led Zeppelin, and that's cool. Like we've got that, but we sold it to you, and you just came back and just went, well, how about this? And over the years, it's just become. It just is what it is, you know. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like we've had some great bands that have gone over, like have succeeded, but you know, not in the way that I would. You know, I would think some bands should have gone over and succeeded more, but I still feel the Americans they just have a different intensity about it. It's just they've always just done it better.
It feels more like it's a profession out in the States.
Well, I think the thing with America, like Josh can, if you can confirm this, or you can sort of go, no, that's not true. You know, you don't have to be like mega famous rock stars over there to make a living. You can sort of go out and play be moderately successful, like kind of 1,000-seaters, but kind of everywhere. And sort of you can do a year of that, you know, really, and kind of make a sort of a living out of it, you know.
Yeah, I think in Britain you kind of got to get to that level where you're playing, and this is the kicker.
Well, you've got to get over to Europe to make that work, you know.
Yeah, or you've got to be playing like 5,000-10,000 capacity venues, but then the kicker is there are only so many of them. So you actually only do one tour a year. You make a ton of money, but then, yeah. You
can only play London once, like every 18 months if you want to have a fan base. You know, it's like, it's pointless. You know?
So first, I have to say that so many of my favorite bands are from your part of the world. So to hear this is like, if I have one dream left, it's to play England. I think it's like the last thing that I was like, that's what I wanted to do is play England. But because I love so much of the music that comes from there. But I think the point I would make on that is, you know, because geographically you're so much more spread out, that allows for a lot of regional diversity. So you can be someone there's a guy from Louisiana called Mark Broussard, and he just plays sort of like Southern folky pop kind of stuff. And he can ride the Southeast basically all year long, college towns, you know, he can just kind of go from spot to spot, and he has a great living. You know, again, he's successful. Is he a name that you guys are going to just automatically recognize? Probably not. But I think that speaks to that, because we have that huge geographical swaths where, you know, in this part of the country, this can live kind of on its own in its independent sort of region. And maybe those possibilities are, they're more abundant here for sure. But still, I got to go back to it, man. I love, I mean, you guys and what the scene, just, just so much of my favorite music. It's like, no, I want to go there.
I think the grass is always greener, isn't it? It's that type of thing
Must be.
sometimes, I think. Because every American band I talk to,
Must
like,
be.
when it comes to UK, it's like,
Yeah.
you know, and then it's like, well, we're like, well, we want to tour the US, but it's quite hard really without visas and stuff properly, you know, especially when you start selling merchandise. We looked at it all, we're like, oh, don't know. Like, but,
well, you know, one thing we've got to talk about is we've kind of been skirting with the idea. We went to Poland last year, and it was amazing. All done above board, wasn't it, Drew?
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah.
We had visas, but we're thinking about. So obviously, it would be impossible to do an American tour without visas or whatever, and it would just be so expensive. And we've made so many connections with like great American bands, and I'm talking with somebody who I won't name because I haven't confirmed it all, but basically try to go to one location in America, might be Nashville, because there's a very big sort of live music scene. Basically go there for a weekend and do like multiple shows, and then maybe try and connect with some of the bands that we've met in the States and get them all to go for the same weekend. And we try and put together some bills, but it's very early in the day. We've got to see if we can make it work financially, and also see if we can make it work logistically. And like, you know, we're talking, and it might actually even be next year, but it could be something to plan for, something to aim for.
Yeah.
We've got a question in the chat, actually. I'll just pop it up on the screen. It's from Lorraine. What age were all of you when you realized you could write songs? Well, we won't ask John because he can't write songs. I reckon you can, mate. We'll just give you a go. We'll let you loose soon. Josh, do you want to start, mate?
So I would answer that I'm still not convinced I can write songs, but as far as just doing it, when I was learning guitar, I remember wanting to learn some songs, and you would learn a few songs, but I would always start to veer like, what happens if I do this or if I do this? So from the first time I picked up the guitar, maybe 16 or 17 years old, I was always thinking, yeah, but I could learn this song, or I could do my own thing. And so that's my answer. I've always loved it.
Nice.
Drew.
Oh, it's a subjective question, that, isn't it? Because no one really, like Josh was saying, no one really you don't really go like, I've just completed writing songs. You know, it's always a learning, and you go back to like your early stuff. Like I found some tapes of me the other day, like a 4-track recording. You're like, okay, you know, and learning the art of trying to write a song. I mean, I'm not a Grammy nominated songwriter, but you know, you start learning the processes of it and pop songwriting and all that kind of stuff. I don't know, like you, Josh, I'm not convinced I can write a song. It's only when I look back and go, oh, I've done an album, or like, oh, that's kind of come out of it, or something. Like now, because I'm sort of in that second wind of like going through the motions of like, right, we need to start thinking about another record. I'm sort of like going through a funny phase of like, oh, can I do this again? Like, I don't know. Like, you know, it's really weird, and my confidence is all over the shop. So I need to just get my shit together and put it down, you know.
Do we need to go back? Do we need to go back to you being managed, Drew? Because you can smash it out when you've got when you've got the deadlines, man. That's when you come alive.
Oh, I'm a deadliner. It's like fear-based songwriting. It's like I need the best kind. I need a record company to be like, we need it delivered on this date. But like, oh shit, okay, right, cool. There you go. You know, and then it's all right. You know. So.
Oh man. Well, I guess I started writing songs like probably at a pretty young age, maybe sort of like 8 or 9. Just in terms of, I guess how it starts is I would like rewrite verses, or like just lyrically it started like that. And I just used to, I've always had a bit of a sense of humor, so I'd always like just basically turn every song into like, you know, dick and fart jokes, and I kept doing that until I could write the music myself. Well, actually, yeah, you know, and that's actually when I first started working on lyrics, even for Just to Write songs. I still do that, but yeah, I guess it was probably when I was like 11 or 12 where I started being able to very basically put down, you know, 3 chords and start writing songs. You know, I was quite lucky. I had people around me who were kind of, I guess, cultivating that interest. One thing that I did get into, again, at a relatively early age, sort of like 11, 12, we used to do, I'm sure, Drew, do you sometimes do this with your students where like they put on like a concert of the songs that they've been learning? Yeah. And I was just like, I don't want to play other people's songs. I want to play my own songs. Again, it's just having like good music teachers and stuff that, you know, let you do that, kind of massage your ego a little bit. And because when you first start playing songs, you get the adoration that, oh, that guy's up there and I don't know, he's singing a Green Day song. And then you realize that you get even more out of it when people are reacting to, you know, a song that you've written yourself, you know, which is great. And yeah, you just kind of
went. But the thing is also, everyone's different. What I really noticed the difference between me and Rod is that I'll dwell on a song for about a year and just panic about it and just go through all like a world of emotions. Rod's just like, I've written it. Can we go on to the next one, please? Like Rod's a lot more of a power through type songwriter.
Well, and again, it's like it's also getting good advice from good writers. I was really lucky as well. You know, I got signed when I was very, very young. You know, I won a songwriting competition, I think, when I was like 14, and then got a record deal maybe a year later. And then I started working with Steve from the Sex Pistols. And then people like Mike Gray, you know, and you just learn from these people that are, you know, essentially professional songwriters, and you realize, you know, it's something, you know, me and you talk about, like Gene Simmons, it's just get out your system.
Yeah, it's just to learn to be more like that, really.
Get up and realize if you want to be, you know, I mean, I didn't become a professional songwriter, but it was that attitude of like, that would be something to aspire to. And a professional songwriter is probably cracking out 2 or 3 ideas a day. You know, you hear these guys that are like, oh, I've written 1,000 songs. And it's like, obviously some of them are mentally ill, but some of them probably have written 1,000 songs. Maybe they're not very good, but it's like anything. It's like a numbers game, you know? I guess if you just keep going and keep going and keep going, eventually, you know, you'll inch by inch get better and better.
Yeah.
There's another question in the chat. There's actually quite a few. Man, this is quite good. Maybe we'll try and speed up the answers. I'm sorry, I waffled quite a bit. What advice would you give to a novice songwriter?
Right.
Well, I would say I won't go off on that. I'll say the same thing. Just write something, get it done, and move on to the next one. Just keep going. It's like going to the gym. You know, you're not going to get a 6-pack in one day. You know, I've been trying for nearly 40 years and it hasn't happened. But you know, if you keep doing the effort, it will get better. I think if you put the right inputs in. Sorry,
Josh, what do you think?
That advice is good that you gave, but I would say always tell the truth.
Oh, I like it. Ooh. I like that because I'm not a lyricist, you know. So it's nice when Rod's the lyricist. So when I hear people talk about that and their lyrics and stuff like that, I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Or you know, I find it. I can write melodies, but I'm certainly not a lyricist, and I don't really try to be. So when I hear stuff like that, I'm like, oh, that's interesting, you know. So it's
I hear you often, Drew. You always talk about your bag full of riffs that you.
It's a phone, isn't it? Phone, yeah, the phone of riffs, and then you've got to kind of turn that into a structure of sorts. That's going to work.
I mean, do you tend to sort of go? I mean, if you imagine like a bag full of riffs, you kind of grab one out and sort of see if they sort of jam together.
Yeah, if it's one that's kind of, I have a phone full of riffs, but if it's in my brain for like ages, it tends to be a good one. So I tend to just keep it, use that one.
I'll just go back to one other little bit of advice for a songwriter, and that is to understand that you're writing a song and not a collection of parts. You know what I mean? Like a lot of the time, I've worked with people, and there's often, I think in all bands, I don't know. Is it fair to say, Josh, you're like the lead songwriter in Tyler Reed, or is it more collaborative?
No, typically I'll bring an idea to the group, and then they will start to build all the layers and whatnot.
Okay. So I've been in a situation a couple of times where it's like someone wants to write a song, but I don't know. It's understanding that there's different ways of coming about it. You know, sometimes it's a case of, okay, a guitarist has a riff and the drummer like jams around that, and the bass player kind of comes in on it, and the singer will maybe come up with some melodies, or someone else will have a melody, or they'll do a keyboard part or whatever, and you kind of come with a song together. Or there's very much like, here's a track. What I want you guys to do is take the parts and make them your own, but within that track, there's kind of like the structure.
It's written, yeah.
It's written, and I guess the advice that I would give is know what a song is, and also know that, you know, don't get too hung up on what it is when you give it away at first. Like, it can always be better, because some people just get destroyed when like a producer comes in, because you'll get people that like, oh, I want to work with this producer. And then you go in with a producer and they get really shitty that like their parts get changed, or like things get moved around or restructured. And it's like, what do you think a record producer actually does? A record producer is there to kind of take the tracks and make the best versions. And, you know, I'm not sure if you've had this experience, but, you know, I've had some that the track is just done and it's about capturing a performance. And then other times it's maybe you start working on some stuff in the studio, or you completely adapt an idea and it changes into something. And I think you just got to be open-minded and like not get obsessed with like your own bullshit. Like, just think about what serves the song the best. You know, it doesn't matter who came up with the bit if you love the song.
Is the song good?
Yeah. So I would add that it's a really special thing when you enter in to that type of work with a group, and it's about that management and collective death of the individual ego to serve the group's overall goals. And so that's when people get all, it's like, well, I wrote this, it's my part, and I'm holding on to it with dear life. But to your point about the producer, he comes in and says, you know, I feel like it goes this way instead of that way. And then again, if everybody's kind of locked into that big picture goal of, you know, we want to create the best music and the best songs, then, you know, it's a beautiful thing. The opposite is when people are kind of holding on to that thing they feel like is their sort of baby. But it is really hard to release your ego in those moments.
Sure, yeah.
I tell you what, guys, why don't we do this? Let's we're going to play a track that we're kind of in demoing stage at the moment. I've made a nice little video to surprise you, Drew and John. And yeah, we can see what the guys in the chat think of this. Just to give it a little bit of context, this is a song that Drew and I have been probably working on and off for 5 years.
Is it that one? Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know about you guys. I'd love to hear in the chat. I am hearing a duet with a female vocalist. Let us know what you think. This is a song called Waiting. Here we go.
I like this song.
That is not. That was Kidded.
Sounds great.
I was going to say, sounds amazing.
It's like, yeah, I've been listening to this band, Tyler Reid. I've been influenced heavily. All right, this is Waiting.
I like what I see.
I've known that for
Oh,
ages.
cool, man.
Yeah. Do you like the vid?
Yeah,
That's
little
cool,
kind of
right?
little.
That's an
Yeah,
old
little,
standard.
um,
That's like easy
Smash
drama.
that together in an hour. That was fun.
Yeah.
I really like the sort of psychedelic moments in the song. Those seem to really grab me as I'm just kind of floating over here. And I always like when bands can find a way to take like a psychedelic sort of riff and make it seem heavier. Like I'm a big old school Smashing Pumpkins fan, and I always felt like they did a good job with that. And of course, I'm
Yeah.
hearing some other bands in there too. But I love when you can make psychedelic stuff sound a little bit different. So I thought that was really cool.
See, I don't know if this would be appropriate to do, but in that kind of psychedelic bit, I'm always imagining in my head like a ooh sort of thing.
Always.
And then someone like Prince just saying some really sexy things over there. But I don't have a voice for it. I'd be like, yeah, you can't
You'll be
imagine
too
what I'd
Brit-
like to
you're
do to you.
we're
Do
too
you know what I
British
mean?
about it. We're just
It's
too
a-
British.
it's a fly of the-
People would call the police.
Good. Yeah,
It's a
like
fly of the
Americans, yeah,
Conchords
Americans
kind of
do better. They've got better voices for that stuff.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, so the chat seems to be a little bit split on female involvement. So one of the things like I hear in writing it is like it is the lyrics are about two people talking about different perspectives. Like there's a character. I guess it's a man and a woman, or it could be a man and a man, or a woman and a woman, whatever. However you want to imagine it. I guess if we do a duet, we'll be anchoring it in that. But it's like one character who is chasing the person and is like, it's really into them, and the other one is like, what can I do to put you off because I'm not really interested, but I enjoy kind of taking advantage of you. So I kind of thought like that dynamic could work quite well in any sort of duet.
Yeah. We'll see. I still think you should just record it yourself, and then we can just add it in, and then we can see what works, really. So that's the best thing, really.
We'll see what the best,
That's actually like that was one of the early songs we wrote, but we didn't put it on the album because it didn't really fit. But I think maybe in this batch of songs, we were like, well, it might work.
Yeah.
There's a few songs like that where you think, well, it's not going to work on this record, but it might work on the next record.
So what type of voice? Like who do you hear in your head? And we'll reach out and see if we can get a hold of
female voice.
I don't see. That's the thing. Like, I don't know if it's a kind of like a Lana Del Rey style voice, or if you would go for a lot more of a kind of like bubblegum Hayley Williams-y type voice. I slated her actually a few weeks ago, but Willow Smith I think would have that kind of interesting. I don't know. She kind of does like a alt rocky Shakira style thing a little bit. I can't work out what would go better. So yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think?
See, I'm still like, I just like the song, so I just sort of hear your voice. It's really hard for me to sort of envision it, But I don't know. Well, I think we should just, when I've sort of laid it, like the drums are done, aren't they? So I just got to go lay down all the other bits, and then I don't know. It's a funny one, really. I don't know.
You can take.
I'm confused. I don't know.
Go down the Electric Six route. Danger high voltage.
We'll get Jack White to do it.
Oh, did Jack White do the?
No,
I believe so. I could be wrong, but I believe so.
I thought we got in the chat group. In the chat group. Well, our manager likes it. That's the main thing, It sounds full. Maybe just a harmony. Yeah, like that's a good idea. Like sing it together.
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh, I don't know. What do I know? This is what I mean. This is where I start going down that road of like, do this, do that, do that.
Who knows? Who knows?
Who knows?
I'm a bit conscious we've kind of waffled on for quite a long time, so I was thinking we should probably skip our news section and just talk about our upcoming gigs just do some plug in while we're kicking around. Well, or do you want to talk about the Foo Fighters?
Well, let's briefly talk about that. Yeah, because
let's just hammer through them. See, still reading the Guardian, the news website.
Josh, what do you think about this?
That's tough. You know, I mean, Taylor was such a huge part of what they did. And of course, everybody's going to have a mixed feeling about it. I've even seen where people want his son to come do it, which I don't think is a good idea for a lot of reasons.
Sure.
Not necessarily about the kid can't do it. It's about, I don't think that would be putting him in a great position. I think that, you know, look, when you've got a band and a business that's that big, it's going to have to continue. There's just no way they're walking away from that. But who can fill those shoes? That's going to be a tough call. What do you guys think? Like, who could do that?
Well, so I agree with you. Like everything what you just said there. Actually, ironically, that was all my statements. Really, it was. His son was amazing when he came on. When he did that, I was like blown away. I don't think he's quite there yet to be able to carry a band like that yet, but he just did an amazing job. And actually, probably sounds more like Dave Grohl than anyone. And that's quite interesting because Dave Grohl drummed on those early records. So you're just sitting there going, well, that's cool in a way. I genuinely thought it was either A, that would have been it, or B, they would have taken more time off and he would have done like an acoustic record or something. But I agree as well. I mean, my brother was talking about this. It's big business and they just can't walk away from this kind of stuff. They've got commitments. You know, there was a whole tour. They hadn't really started the tour and they was probably all committed into that, you know. So that's another issue. That's financial issues because they've got people on the books. You know, it's not just a band. It's a business, so they'll have people on payrolls and things like that. Not that should matter, you know. And as far as the drummer goes, I don't think someone's just put Rufus Taylor in a chat group. It's not going to be Rufus Taylor. I'd be surprised if it was because he's too much like Taylor Hawkins and they were good mates. I think they're going to go with Josh Freese. I thought that whole gig was basically a drum audition.
Well, Josh Freese could drum for anyone.
But he opened the show and he played with them did a few songs with them, and they were epic. When he did them, I felt that they were carried amazingly. And Josh Freese is just that guy. Whether or not they want him in the band because he is more of a session player, that's a different thing, you know. So,
what do you reckon, John?
Well, we know someone who knows all the songs and has had a bit of experience playing.
You can't tout our drummer. So, Josh, you probably don't know this, but Alex used to be in a very, very kind of well-known in the UK Foo Fighters tribute band. So
nice.
Yeah.
Nice. My brother, the drummer, said he would throw his hat in the ring too. So I think everybody who's loosely associated with drums would like to, you know, put their name in.
But also they might do that whole thing of like, let's just go and get a random. But at the same time, I don't think so because they've already announced some dates.
Do you want my, you know, kind of like curveball? Who should take over? Tommy Lee.
No.
Just like Motley Crue are going to be finished soon. Tommy Lee.
Not going to be. I don't think it's going to be. It's not going to be a name unless it is Josh Freese. But Josh Freese was
Josh Freese is like he's the name, not a name, isn't he? Like he's the biggest name, not a big name guy. Like
maybe Josh Freese wants to join a band. He's just like, you know what, I could just be in a band for a bit. I don't know. Yeah. It's a tough one, but I generally think it will be Josh Freese. Just personal opinion. But.
Yeah. Right. Should we go to the next story? This is an interesting one. How do we feel about John Lydon, Johnny Rotten, competing? Oh, actually, shit! It's Public Image Limited are competing to represent Ireland at Eurovision 2023. Josh, are you familiar with Eurovision?
So this is where you're going to find me a fish out of water. I'm so lost on kind of culturally what that means. It seems
That's
like
mad.
it's a TV. It's more of a TV show kind of thing. And
Yes.
you've got an artist that's come through with some type of credibility. That doesn't feel like you wouldn't see a well-known band come to American Idol and say, "Hey, we're going to try out." Right? Is there a similar thing going on there?
Sort of. It's a strange one.
Maybe not,
because it would be as if like countries were competing for American Idol, and there was even some sort of strange geopolitics involved, right? So,
okay, I gotcha.
For some countries, they really want to win for political gain. So it's a bit of a strange competition, but essentially, it's a competition, and each country in Europe enters songs. I think there's like a big 8 or a big 6. Britain's one of them, who just qualify automatically because we pay for the competition, essentially. And then there are like semi-finals or whatever, and then there's like a grand final, and the winning country gets to host it the next year. And it's very camp. It's incredibly camp, and it has a weird kind of legacy because there's been a bit of a resurgence in recent years where artists can actually make a career from being successful at Eurovision.
Okay, well, sorry, can I just cut in there? So,
Yeah.
Josh, you know ABBA are, don't you?
Yes, I do.
That essentially they won Eurovision in the 70s, and then that was their career launched from that.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are more or less describing like the Tri-Wizard tournament, right? That kind of thing.
I like that. Sounds better than Eurovision as a title.
I've never heard of that. That sounds amazing.
The Harry Potter Tri-Wizard tournament.
Oh, right.
Is that what it was called? What was it called?
I don't know.
Are you talking about the Quidditch World Cup or something? I'm not big on Harry Potter, but
okay,
it's
sorry. That's just me. I'm off. I told you culturally this is the wrong.
Yeah, so it's just a very kind of strange thing. I mean, John's half Swedish, and in Sweden, Eurovision is
it's
big.
massive
It's like,
in Sweden. It's bigger in Ireland because Sweden and Ireland are probably the 2 biggest winners. Like,
yes,
I think so. They're more It's more popular over there, I think, because we just don't win it. We just don't win it, and
you win it. You win at flat pack furniture and Eurovision.
Yeah,
That's it.
Yeah.
Nice. And Sweden has to be like they're like the songwriting machines, right? I mean, they're just an unstoppable force.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
So I've got a thing about that, and like in England, or in Britain, I should say, there are a lot of great bands that are Welsh, right? Considering it's such a small part of the UK. But I always put that to, and I think it's the same thing in Sweden. If you live in a remote place with fuck all to do, you can get really good at writing songs. You know, there's
so
no temptation.
I live in a village of 250 people, and I don't know. That's why I started playing music. So I think you're onto something.
Are you still there? Are you still in the same village?
Right.
Wow,
that's nuts. But yeah, you know, if you don't have any distractions, like and another thing is it's about space. Like Britain is very, very densely populated, right? But if you live in the valleys in Wales, you can, for very little money, get a very big house that you could practice in. Whereas, you know, if you're like in London paying, you know, 1,500 quid for a 1-bedroom flat, like you can't have a rehearsal in there. You got to go to a rehearsal room that costs £100. It's horrible.
So I'll tell you a story that ties in with this. So when we signed our deal with Immortal Records in 2006, the A&R rep Jason Markey flew to see us. Now he wasn't going to come to see us play in a show. I picked him up at the airport, and we literally took him to our barn. So this is where our farm equipment is and all this stuff. And we played for our showcase was in our barn in Grand Cane, Louisiana, and he signed us right there. He was like, "You guys are great. We want to do this." But about space. So yeah, we play in a barn because you can turn it up as loud as you want.
Wow.
Nobody cares. But yeah, so that was our big showcase moment.
You got signed in a barn.
That's incredible.
More records.
Yeah,
fantastic.
Oh, hang on a
Those
second.
were the
We've
days.
got a question. We've got a question, and it's a big plug. It's a big plug for Tyler Reid. What was the song called at the beginning that you played? I've still got it in my head. I have to hear it again. Josh, do you want to do the honors, mate?
Okay. The song is called Kid Id, and it's by the band Tyler Reid. It's off our brand new record called Cave Paintings, which is out now on Spotify, Apple Music, all that other stuff. But yeah, thanks a lot for the question. I appreciate it.
Rod, can you put it in the chat group?
I'll put it in the when we repost. I'll put all the links.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
all the videos, all this. So just one thing that's quite interesting about how is John Lydon doing the Republic of Ireland? Is he Irish? Like,
must
is he
be
breaking some rules? Or I mean, everybody in Britain probably somehow could link themselves back to Ireland at some point.
Well, yeah, everyone's been trying to get their dual nationality passports, haven't they? By going, oh, my grandparents are Irish, so they can get an Irish passport.
Yeah,
so they can travel Europe freely, you know.
Yeah, that's all right for me.
John can do that. John, you can get a Swedish passport, can't you, John?
Yeah.
Can you be bothered?
Yeah, I can't be asked, to be honest, but it's there, isn't it?
It's just the fact that you can. Yeah. Should have married John.
Yeah.
Last news, music based. Oh God, I've lost my. Do you know what? I've just got a new setup. I've got 4 screens, and I lose my mouse. I don't know where it goes. It's first world problems. Nirvana to receive the 2023 Lifetime Achievement Award from the Grammys. I don't know how I feel about this. I feel like they should have received this earlier. I'm
not too familiar with the Grammys Lifetime Achievement Awards. I mean, we've got Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but is it quite a extensive list, or is it how long has it been going on for?
I don't know, but it looks like they have multiple honorees every year. So actually, in fairness, maybe they're getting this quite soon, because it says they're picking up the Lifetime Achievement Award alongside Bobby McFerrin, Ma Rainey, Nile Rodgers, Slick Rick the Ruler, The Supremes, Ann Wilson, and Nancy Wilson of Heart.
Well,
so
they haven't been a band since 1994, so it's a bit of a tough one, that,
Yeah, and I think, Nile Rodgers or Nirvana have... My beef would be as amazing as Nirvana were and the impact they've made, to me, like a Lifetime Achievement Award. If it was like Dave Grohl getting it, I think that would make more sense. But these artists that I've just rolled off, these people have had a lifetime of making music. Not that what Nirvana did wasn't amazing, but it was a bit of a flash in the pan, That's
but the other side of it, it's like the Beatles. They're only together for 8 years. It's the music that carries on, and it's so maybe they just see it that way. Yeah. Anyway, I think Josh needs to say goodbye.
Hey, thank you so much for having me and chatting. Listen, I love what you guys are doing, and I think you're just on top of all of it. So thank you again from me and the rest of the guys in Tyler Reid. When you come to Nashville, give us a ring. Come down to Louisiana, stay at the house. We'll take you to the barn, and we can all jam. So sounds like a great time. But thanks again, and
thanks for coming on.
Amazing, bro. Fantastic to meet you.
Okay, man.
And good luck with everything in the future. And let's stay connected. Boom. Right. Should we just talk about some gigs we've got coming up?
Yeah, go on. Yeah. Let's finish up. Let's finish up with our gigs, and then.
Yeah. So we've got another song to play as well.
Have you?
Yeah, I have. It links in with this. So we're back on the road, baby. We are playing with the Karma Effect, plus support from The Shape of Water. It's going to be a very eclectic show.
Do you want to move can you move us the camera?
Yes. Hang on.
Because you're covering up where it is.
Good shout. Good shout. There we go. Look at this. We are playing at the Karma Effect plus The Shape of Water. Just a ride. Logo could be bigger, but beggars can't be choosers. Sorry. And it's 28th of January. It's Saturday. It's only a few weeks actually. It's coming on fast. We better
get rehearsal in then.
Better work out what we're going to play. Yeah.
Well, it depends how long we got. We need to find out how long we got to play. I'm guessing it's going to be half hour.
I think so.
I'm going to go with
Just
30
assume
minutes.
it's half hour. Half
30
hour
minutes.
of power.
And I've written a 30-minute song, so I think we should play it. No, I haven't
Fucking
really.
hell.
Like a prog song. No, it's fine. We'll do our 40-minute set, but we'll cut it down. That's fine.
So yeah, we've got coming up. We've got 28th of January. That's at the Gifford Arms in Wolverhampton. Drew, have you played there?
No, I never have actually. Wolverhampton's great though, and
Yeah, I love
I'm looking
Wolves.
forward to it. You know, I've heard all about. Yeah, sorry, our manager's just chatting there. Like she goes, "I'll find it a sec length." Yeah, exactly. Yeah, how long is it going to be?
It'll be
If
good.
it's 40 minutes, we'll do our 40-minute set. You know, but it's fine.
Right. What else have we got coming up?
This one looks great.
Yeah, we've got Atomic Asylum, which is the name of the promoters, at the 6-6 in Cambridge. And this is actually the 18th of February. Yeah, it's going to be great. I'll tell you what's really funny is I was talking to the promoter before Christmas, and, you know, Christmas happens and you kind of like, your brain goes to mush.
Yeah.
And all that.
Live
and he forgot to tell me that he'd arranged the supports. So I was like on the blower to Kai, thinking from Cages to Preachers, going like, oh man, we've got this gig coming up soon. Like, do you want to play it? He was like, yeah, cool. Cambridge. Like, yeah, I don't know, but we're playing Cambridge soon. I was like, oh really? When? It was like the 18th. I went, are you playing with us? He was like, yeah, I thought you knew. I was like, no.
Brilliant.
He was like, I'm pretty sure you told me about the gig. I was like, I might have. I just don't fucking know. But yeah, back with the boys from Cages for Preachers, the Timeouts No More, and My High, who actually sound really, really good. It's cool because our band of the week, our track of the week is pretty much sorted for the next few weeks because we'll just be plugging all the great bands we're playing with.
I think that's a great idea. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, man. And then, actually, John, just a quick one. Janus Stark. I'm pretty sure I saw them at NARM back in the day in Watford. Do you remember?
I recognise that name. Why do I recognise that?
Is it Giz Butt, who used to be the guitarist in The Prodigy? It's his band.
Oh, yeah. Giz Butt. I remember him.
Yeah, fucking.
Wow.
How old is he now? Probably not that old. Probably like mid-40s.
Probably like only a few years older than us, mate. That's weird.
Yeah, exactly.
When you're younger, you just think these guys are really old, and then you
realise it's like they're like 5 years older than you or whatever. And
you're like, is that it? Yeah.
And then last but not least, and this is something that we need to get on and organise our accommodation and our plan of what we're going to do, is Station 18 in Swansea. We're playing on the 30th. We might have another gig that we're going to be announcing, I think, pretty soon as well around that time. But yeah, this is a great festival lineup. What are you thinking, John? We've been discussing between me and Drew about maybe just going up on the Saturday, just hanging out there.
Yeah, we talked about this just before we.
Oh yeah, we did.
Broke up, didn't we? Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
We'll go mingle. We'll go meet people. Yeah. We'll go tell them we're playing. Give out copies of our record. And just go. Here you go.
Some good bands as well. These Wicked Rivers. Yeah. I love their stuff. They're great. We played with them at Just Push Play.
Yeah, they're brilliant band. Absolutely brilliant band.
They have a hell of a stage dressing as well. Like they've got the look as well. Great band. Yeah, I'd be quite interested to see Dig Lazarus because I quite like the sound of them. And then on the day we're playing, it's just it's some great bands. There's White Raven Down who Kate manages as well.
Yeah,
which is
Empire playing. That's great.
Empire, they're a great band. And Bastet. I've been hearing good things about them.
Playing. Oh, awesome.
King Kraken are opening. What the fuck?
I couldn't see. The writing's small. Sorry.
Yeah.
Terrible. And Bad Touch, of course. Bad Touch. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah. So and we'll have a few more popping up here and there. I think it's just about to be confirmed. I think it's the 3rd of Feb in Sheffield. At the old coach house or the old coach station. I don't know. I should really know. Old coach station, yeah, with our friends from Confide. So all good, onwards and upwards. I think, shall we close out the show with a tune from the band that we're going to be playing with in a few weeks, Karma Effect. This is the new song, The River.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's have a listen. Yeah, here it is, The Karma Effect.
Nice. Like
That's
it.
cool, man.
Very sort of that 70s free kind of stuff, isn't it? You know?
Great
It's
voice,
cool.
though. Fucking great.
Oh, his voice, yeah, it's really high, isn't it? He goes right up.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Great band. Great band. So really, really looking forward to play with them. Yeah, it's Saturday, 28th of January. It's in Wolverhampton at the Gifford Arms. 10 quid for a ticket for 3 amazing bands.
Bargain.
Fucking hell. What a bargain. Bargain at twice the price. Maybe not twice. You know, I speak for ourselves. I don't think we're worth it. But yeah,
I think we're worth every penny. I think you alone are worth every penny.
L'Oreal. I'll need the L'Oreal actually. Because
I sort of devalue the brand a little bit, but it's fine. It's all right. You know, we can get it back up with John, and then it's a good balance. You know?
We need to get Alex in the gym so he can take his top off a little bit. You know.
Yeah, I think that's where we go wrong.
Yeah,
it's
probably. Right. Shall we say goodbye to everyone? Shall we say, guys, thanks ever so much for hanging out with us.
Thank you for watching.
Thanks, guys.
Loved it.
Yeah. See you next Tuesday, same place, same time, 9 p.m. And look forward to it.
See you all there. Bye.
Bye. Oh.